everybody for tuning in to Zennie62 and supporting all of our vloggers. And this has been beyond great last weekend, and we've got more coming. And we will be back with the NFL shows, but we're talking Oakland politics. And as you know, I like to do a style that's not gotcha. I like for you to hear the candidate and get to know the candidate. And my friend Seneca Scott is running for Oakland City Council, District 3. I said so. I got to say, he's got a kick-ass website you got to check out. So, but Seneca,
thank you, Zennie.
Yeah, tell my viewers about you.
So I've been in Oakland since 2012. I came here from LA to work for SCIU 10-1 as a director for East Bay. It was cool. It was really interesting job. Which work I'm very familiar with. I had done it my whole career, but some friends of mine got hired to be the ED, and they needed some help in Oakland, particularly because they're not Black. They wanted somebody who connect with Black people at the same time, be able to do, high-end labor relations and take on some tough fights that we were facing at the time, having a first round of contracts since the recession. And in the recession, we gave a lot up because we had to. Unions gave a lot up to save the jobs and prevent furloughs and everything like that. Then the economy did a turnaround. I say that to be very vague. The economy, in my opinion, did not do a turnaround. However, we engaged in varieties of financial manipulation that have led us to where we are now. But for brevity's sake, the economy did a turnaround, and referring to the CPI index and projected CPI index, right? So if we use that as a benchmark, things were looking good. And we were trying to do like floors and ceilings, and if you can have CPI triggers, and public sector wasn't going for it. They wanted people to stay right where they were. And we were just trying to get back to where we were in 2008 and 2012. It wasn't like people were trying to get a raise or anything. So it got ugly. If you remember, it was the BART strike. We struck City of Oakland. We struck City of Hayward. And we struck everybody. Port of Oakland, we were striking. Power concedes nothing without a demand. And sometimes the only demands come with consequences. And sometimes the only consequences unions can levy is to withhold their labor, right? Even in the public sector. So it was a busy time. I did it for a couple of years. And then in 2014, I wanted to do my own thing. And I like to cook. I'm a chef. I wanted to just take a sabbatical, man. Labor is grueling. I've done it nonstop, since maybe 19, 20 years old. Even when I was in college at Cornell University, we would fly back to California to organize home care workers. So I needed a break. And so I took it. But I didn't want to move back to LA because, it's Oakland. So
Oakland's got in you.
Oakland's got soul.
Yeah.
And I did appreciate my time in LA. I won't say that I don't have good memories of the city, but it's not somewhere I want to live now. And I really like Oakland. I moved to the bottoms. At the time, I moved there because it was where I could find housing. It wasn't like I'm gonna move to the bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird, bro. I actually spent I forgot how much, but it was like maybe over $1,000 on application fees. So this is at the height of gentrification. Maybe not the height, but maybe it was the height. Close enough.
Mm-hmm.
In 2014, there were no vacant units for people really, and it was it was just extremely competitive to get housing. So I made sure I applied for housing before I left my job, so I would have a job on the book. So I'm applying for housing as a single person. This is 26 years ago. I'm like 35. So I'm young. I have no kids. I got one dog. And I'm deaf, so it's a service dog. I'm half deaf anyway. And I got a 6-figure income, good credit, and I couldn't find a place. And I'm putting out, the application fees they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I don't know how long it's been since you applied for an apartment or anything like that, but they can be really expensive. And after spending over G in application fees, I realized there was a racket going on. Like you could rent to the first person who comes in your office and show it for 2 more days, and take in 100 more application fees.
Well, talk more about that, because it has been a long time since I applied for an apartment.
So when you apply for a place, you do a credit check, but you also pay like $50
right
every time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but if there's a high demand and I get 300 applications for every department, I could take them all, even though I'm going to rent to somebody else. You know, it's just really predatory. They obviously turn it into a money grab. And at the end of it, I had to end up moving in with friends of mine in the bottoms. We ended up calling our house the Garvey House. It was a blessing in disguise. It was a nice 4-bedroom that, you know, 3 brothers share intentionally, you know, that we know each other and can manifest community and be an asset, have a rotating room for people who are moving to Oakland, you know, really do the thing, which was cool and all, but I was kind of alarmed when I couldn't get a place.
Yeah.
You know, like that was weird. Like, come on, bro. I went to Cordell. I got a job. I live in Oakland, work in Oakland. I'm a union director. You're really telling me I can't find an apartment?
How much of it was discrimination, being black?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. In my opinion. I can't say, you know.
That's what matters. You know, right? That's all that matters. That should, you know, it's like somebody told me once, well, I'm not racist. I said, wait a minute, I'm saying you're racist, okay? And, you know, that was some white media guy in the Bay Area. I said, look, listen to me. So, no, it's your view. If you feel like you were dealing with racism, it's the same thing as me too, right? I mean, no one should shut you up. That's racism. Absolutely. You
know, the map is not the territory. So my map, everybody's map is their own map, and that is the life they live. So I do agree with you there. And it is important to prioritize that to connect with people. But enough about the narrative. Anyway, I'm gonna speed it up. So I had a garden. I helped co-found a community garden. It was already there when I got here. So I'm not gonna act like I started the garden. They had already got a lease, cleaned up the blight, and it was well on their way. But you know, I added my own touch and vision, and helped build a kitchen and turned it into a pop-up, and turned that pop-up into a festival called Ocala. You know, so I claim co-founder in the sense of what it is now. Co-founder of Ocala Collective, which was to actually throw a free music festival in the bottoms. To bring it in the garden, we really wanted to do it there because it's a transformative place. People really have a sense of euphoria and happiness that I really see anywhere else. And it was just a really special moment. So we scaled it up, and then we figured out how to actually do that for other people. We've done events for East Bay Regional Park District last year called Park Jam in celebration of the 85th anniversary. We've done events with Jack London, got the exact name, but the Jack London District, whoever runs that down there. Sorry, y'all, but y'all my people. All types of entities in Oakland have hit us up to curate our style, which is inclusiveness and safety, and making sure that it's accessible to everyone, right? When we envisioned Ocala, we wanted someone to have $20 in their pocket and be able to come and have food and drink and be able to even get something from a vendor. And if you're gonna, that's a really low. I mean, you're gonna have to get in for free. That means your drinks and food are gonna have to be priced a certain way, right? So we had half plates. So if you got a beer, something for $5, you got a half of a type of plate, we have big portions, so it's simple. But you know, filling meal that'd be like $6. You're at 11. You could even have another drink. You can go buy something cheap from a vendor, like you know, some ice cream or something. So we did our best to make sure that our vendors were happy. Our vendors love vending for Ocala. I'm only repeating what they've told us. We do a survey after every event so people can tell us how they liked it. So it's really was a special time. I was perfectly happy being a community organizer and being out of the grind of politics.
Hey.
So I was going to get into what inspired me to run, and then.
Well, actually, before I ask that one, how did Hella start? Because these
festivals, good question.
Because I go back to the festival at the lake, which is before you got, and it's beautiful to see this start again. Unfortunately, you know, it comes after Barbecue Becky, right? But
well, Fam Bam has been rocking before Barbecue Becky with Travis Watts. Yeah, which was one of my Fam Bam, Life is Living, Highway Day was the inspiration.
Yeah, for
me, right? Attending those events, being a part of those events was an inspiration for Ocala. Ocala started off as Oakchella. We had at the same time as Coachella. We had 750,000 likes on our Facebook post, which we were scared because there was an underground festival with no permits and a garden, and we were freaking out. And then Coachella sent us a cease and desist, and Facebook pulled the ad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, free community festival, bro.
Oh my God.
Right? So, but then it was cool because we were like, what do we do? He was like, man, forget Oakchella. We're going to call it Oakhella. It's Hella Oakland. That was actually the year Hella was put in Webster Dictionary.
You kidding me?
Yeah, it was the same year, 2017, I believe.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
So it's like, so how, what was the aha moment where you said, I'm going to run?
Good question. So I thought about running last year. I actually put feelers out to my old union. I thought about it deeply. I started coming up with some campaign plans. The reason I was able to, within 1 week before the deadline, start putting together platforms and stuff, because I'd already thought about it enough to know, what would be my message to the people and what I would run on. Then I was trying to get my endorsement from a few people, and I heard through the grapevine that Cat Brooks was running. Mm-hmm. And I like Cat Brooks. I actually made phone calls and donated, and I won't say I was like the biggest super trooper, but I put work in for her mayoral. I was really disappointed that we did not win. And if city council would be a stepping stone to, I'm not sure how that works, but if it would be a stepping stone to the mayoral or getting Cat and the influence of power in the city, it's not about me. I'm an organizer, so you'll rarely see me before now, right? Because it's really about it's about the movement. So you should know bottoms up gardens. You should know Ocala. I'd rather you not know Seneca Scott until recently, because you can't win an election if people don't know your name and know to check your box and vote for you. So you've got to switch it up. Got to switch it up a little bit, which is I'm getting a little more comfortable with it, but I'm still not too comfortable, and I still center the people in my campaign. So what happens was it was like July, and Kat didn't enter, and then Carol entered, and then I saw a news article about like 8 people entering, and I'm looking people up, and I'm like, who's talking for the bottoms? Who's talking for the West? Who's talking for D3? Not Oakland at large issues, not society at large issues, and yes, they all are connected. But who's talking about just the issues in District 3? Mainly the blight, the fact that we're used as a sacrifice zone for the county. And that's a historical thing. You can't reverse the course of decades of racism overnight. I tell white people that all the time on my campaign. You wonder why this shit's happening? It's happening because this neighborhood's been at play. Now you're getting some of that smoke too. Welcome a little bit what it feels like to live somewhere and be constantly at sea by your electeds, because you're a Black neighborhood. And that culture just can't be erased overnight because the houses go for $1 million plus and because white people want to move in. It doesn't change overnight because of that. And you're still dealing with the effects of longstanding policies of redlining and just really using the bottoms of West Oakland as a dumping ground. I liken it to what we do to Haiti and Cuba to punish them. We punish Haiti. We punish Cuba in our international. We punish West Oakland for these guys we see behind me in this poster. We've been punished for that work, in my opinion.
What's the poster, by the way?
Thank you.
Yeah. What's to my viewers what that poster is, by the way?
So it's a poster of Huey Newton, and you can name the other brother. I forget his name, escapes me at the moment. But they're outside of their office.
Right.
And this is the Black Panther office in Oakland. I think it's Berkeley, this particular office picture. And the reason I have that poster, and I show that in my Zoom calls, if you've been on any, I don't use the backdrop. I sit here and I want people to see that poster because Black Panthers are known for most thing they're known for is taking a stand against police brutality by being willing to take up arms and use our constitutional Second Amendment against them. And then Ronald Reagan, a Republican, who was supposedly to be the pro-gun people, enacted some of the most aggressive anti-gun legislations in the country at the time.
Sure as hell.
He was so scared to see a Black man with a gun. I am a firearm enthusiast and trainer. I believe that Black people should be protecting themselves. I believe that we are facing a second wave of genocide of our people. And you need to be very careful about what's going on right now. Just because you live in a Black city and you're a little safer than maybe some other people who are surrounded by white folks, you ain't that much safer. Okay? So you need to be checking yourself too, especially when you're talking about divesting from police. You're talking about taking their money away, which we need to do because they don't use it appropriately. In particular, and I want to be specific about that, we spend 45% on our police, of our budget. Other cities are 420 to $500,000 spend 25 to 35% on their police. So at the top, y'all got to cut that 10% and do better. It's a lack of efficiency that any elected official should seek efficiency in our department instead of even picking on police. Like brass tacks, you guys, and I'm talking to any law enforcement officers who are watching this, too many of you are at the desk. Too many of you are using your union to get overtime and not put on that uniform and come out in the field because it's dangerous and you're scared. If you're scared, don't be an officer. It's time to retire. We need our officers in the field doing their job. All these young kids are out here, and thank you for the officers who are brave enough to come out here and do that job. It's a hard job, and I'm not talking to most of y'all. Who I am talking to is your police chiefs and your union and your people who are enabling this bad behavior and wasting our money. If you look at that report in San Francisco, we got people under the $500,000. Some of these, come on, bro, come on. We pay teachers pennies. We expect teachers to live off food stamp, and then we pay law enforcement officers who rock death, overtime to assess the point to making $400,000 plus in these counties. It is abuse of power, and it has to stop. So back to the question, I looked up. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, man. I'm gonna run. I don't have no money, but you know what? At very minimum, we're going to keep this election honest because I know that I have a platform and I know that I have a style that is going to attract attention, and that the minimum effect of me being in this race will be to change the conversation to a point where I know that District 3 will hopefully be represented by whoever wins, and draw more attention to the urgent needs that we're facing, particularly in West Oakland. Not to leave out the other parts, Adam Point and everywhere else. We all got some issues. But if y'all saw my campaign video flying over Wood Street, if you haven't, go look at it. It's called Daniel's Story. It's on YouTube. It's also on my website. There's this overhead drone shot we took. This shock you. I know what it looks like, and it shocked me. If you could cue it up, you can share your screen and play it.
That's exactly what I'm working on right now, because to show people that. And hey, while I'm looking up this, what do you think of some people are concerned that defunding the police means less service? I mean, for me, just to try to explain where I'm coming from, I'm 58, so I remember a time when we had more money for social programs, right? So for me, it seems like a sort of a realigning. Everybody seems to have their different meaning of defunding police, but what really does it mean for you?
I like that word. You've expanded my vernacular on that topic. So thank you. Realigning is definitely more appropriate. What it means is that we're being efficient. We are wasting valuable resources that we need to tackle problems. I don't want to see an exhaustive account in your budget of how you fail. You failed to solve the problem. We need to do it a different way, right? So we need to account more money to mental health service, inpatient mental health and drug rehabilitation services, right? Not a padded cell and electroshock and, not some kind of methadone clinic that you can come in when you want to. I mean, things that are really going to make a difference. So
here's your site, by the way. You asked me to queue up there.
Thank you. Should be. I can't look on my website, but
it's I will.
You know what? You could go to YouTube and put in Seneca for D3, and it'll come up.
I think actually it's connected here to YouTube because I saw one of your videos actually liked, and if I like a video in my system in my network, it automatically becomes a blog.
There you go. Oh no, that's not it. Go up.
Go up. Okay.
Go scroll up.
Okay, that's you.
Oh no. Okay, so yeah, go to YouTube.
Okay. It was,
I need to have that added to my website.
I think if I go to, I think there's a link to it from here. It's like, where is that? Because I saw it at your website, And
the very first thing on the website on the main one, under Seneca, or even under.
Let me go to YouTube. Yeah, I had it.
Yeah, let's just go to YouTube. In the meantime, I'll talk a little bit more about police, so we don't have dead air for your listeners.
Sure. YouTube and.
By the way, you can schedule a virtual door knock for people out there on my webpage. And do something similar just for you or your community group.
And here we go. Okay, there's your campaign video. Is this what you wanted me to play?
And then the other one is Daniel's story.
That's a great one.
Yeah, let's play that one.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that one. Right. Here we go. This is Daniel's story.
For the past 6 years, Prescott neighbor and resident Daniel Burns has been a one-man cleaning crew along Frontage Road and on other streets in West Oakland. He has been an inspiration for many of us who have been following his efforts. This is his story.
So when I first moved here, Pacific Cannery Law, we would organize cleanups out over on the lot out here that's now been developed. I walked over to Frontage Road to clean up there, and the trash was just horrific. And that started me on that.
How often have you contacted your current city council person about these issues?
I write Lynette maybe once or twice a month.
Currently,
Wow.
D3 is home to 56% of Alameda County's unhoused residents. This has more than doubled in the last 2 years, all while $340 million has been allocated toward homelessness for the fiscal year 2019-2020. What are we doing with this money?
The big issue for D3 is not the encampments per se. It's the conditions that the encampments create.
And our taxes go for what? The streets are a mess. Dumping is terrible here. I want to make my part of the world, whatever I can do to make the environment better, make living here better, make the environment. I want to be a part of that.
Why is D3 not receiving its fair share to help tackle these urgent problems? Thank you, Daniel, and everyone else who has been helping to keep our streets clean. It's time to elect a real voice in City Hall, a voice that speaks for D3.
This is Seneca Scott, and I approve this message.
It's a nice video. Okay, so question to you. Why isn't D3 getting its fair share?
I don't know. I can only, so when you look at that budget from Alameda County and the breakdown of it, and it is, I can find it and link it. It's a good study. It's actually in my Instagram. When I usually post this video, I post the information source. It's from fiscal year 2018 to 2021. So my apologies for that. But it's just a tremendous amount of money, and it accounts to 30,000 plus per person outside, and I think it's because of how much does it cost to do a study, to hire 15 staffers to dig a hole? Then I have to have a manager to have those staffers. It's just a classic. Let me figure out how many ways I can make money from the situation, from the budget, and manage the problem to keep my budget funding, but never actually solve it, because if I solve it, maybe I don't have a job anymore. Yeah. Right? So that's one part of it. Another part of it is it's just hard, and everybody's not playing together. We have a city attorney, from what I've been learning from listening to city attorney candidate Eli. Our current city attorney is not tough on dumpers. We're capping fines. And come on, I can run a business model of dumping in Oakland. I'm sure people come from hours away. So let me tell you a story. When we were making our campaign video, I went down Wood Street. And I went up to Wood Street and talked to everybody I could talk to. How much of this is you guys? How much are the few people here who are hoarders? And how much are illegal dumping? I'm trying to get a rough breakdown from everybody's perspective, anecdotally, to put together what I believe to be the most accurate number. And most of the people outside say there's a couple of us here who hoard big time. That overhead view on Daniel's story, that's one guy. His name is Jeffrey. One person collected that over 4 years. But we can't stop him because we're scared to enforce any law, because we're into some really, I don't call it liberalism. It sounds like you're zealot to me. You're not really trying to solve anything. You're getting quasi-cultish with the jargon and extra woke stuff, but you're not actually doing anything to help people on the grounds here, right? If you look at what Frontage Road and that apartment place where Daniel lives, that's all the new condos that all the rich white people came and bought. Those are the gentrifiers, quote unquote. I don't like that word. I call it the global consolidation of wealth. All right, people are going to move where it's nice outside. It's one of the nicest places in the world. People found that out, Oakland. The secret's out. Okay, the dog blew the cover. Everyone knows now.
I like that. The global consolidation of wealth.
That's what I call it. And it's predatory and it's ugly, but you're not going to solve it in Oakland. And that's why I do give kudos. I may not agree with everything that Carol Pfeiffer does, but I definitely see eye to eye on her the fact that we need radical aggressive change. Right? I just see her platform as being more at large or more like a congressperson. I would love to see her run for Congress like AOC. And I wouldn't be mad to have her as a city council person. I would think I'm focused more on the music district to it. Right? And I like to draw a clear distinction there.
I'm curious, did I ever talk to you about the days we had redevelopment? Because West Oakland did well under redevelopment, and I worked for the redevelopment agency. That was actually my first job out of grad school at Cal in 1987. And I would do tax increment financing models. And my first project was to try to get 35 seamstresses, an incubator, and because the apparel industry was getting decimated at the time. And but you're absolutely right about West Oakland. It just seems like the investment post redevelopment has just gone down, right?
I would love a briefing on that.
Yeah, because we've got the Army base supposed to be redeveloped, and that was supposed to be the Oakland Boken oversized terminal, which is tied up in ugly politics. Full disclosure, Inside Terminal Solutions is my client and that's noted on my websites and everything. I'm very open about it. I sought after them as a client. I'm not using this to talk about that at all, but just saying. But you're absolutely right about the disinvestment. And since we've come in, we've had these predatory housing people in West Oakland. I don't want to name names, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just kicking out elderly Black women and everything. And I'm like,
well, it's bad. So when my pop-up took off, we had a lot of people saying, we should open a restaurant. I was like, yeah, that was the goal. Let me open a restaurant. And these developers said, we just bought a building right down the street from you, and it'll be perfect location to open a cafe. And I went down there, and I was like, it is the perfect location to open a cafe. So we started negotiations, and we signed a letter of intent, and I started to think about how we were going to fundraise to afford it. And then I realized that they were trying to get me to do the tenant improvements to put the kitchen in their building. And the square footage cost was the same cost. I looked at their website, and they had a space in Berkeley open on Berkeley's campus. So Berkeley, California, and I'm going to say this again so you do how wild this is. I'm in the lower bottoms comparing the price tag of a place where I have to do the tenant improvement to put a kitchen in at the tune to maybe $150,000, $200,000 myself. On the same website for the same company is another place for lease in Berkeley that had the same cost per square footage that already has a kitchen. Berkeley had built-in customers with students. It's a lot safer than opening a business. I got one brick. I get one gunshot through my window. I could be done for. But this is a wild corner. It's a lot of risks to open up somewhere at such an at-risk investment and endeavor like open up a restaurant or a bar or something like that. So I was like, I went to him. I was a noob at that, right? So I was a novice. And before I signed anything, because I knew that I was a novice, I wanted to check with my people. And my people said, yeah, but they're playing you. I went back and said, hey, bro, you playing me? No, we're not playing you. We have all these. We just can't afford it. So you're going to make me afford it for you?
Yeah, trying to have you do it.
Yeah, they sold it. That place never got developed. They sold it. They offloaded it when they couldn't do what they wanted to do with it. Because they couldn't find any takers for the exorbitant rent.
Hey, how is City of Oakland doing in the middle of a pandemic in your view?
from this as city government or the people?
City government.
Okay, the people have been admirable. We have been stoic. We have been resilient. We have been loving to each other. We have been common sense for the most part, and shown an enormous amount of respect and intention to keep each other healthy. City, I can't speak to the health part. On a public health view, I'm neutral. I don't have anything negative to say, which is a positive. I don't like, people only notice when you do things bad. People don't seem to notice when you're doing things good, especially with something as hard as running a city. So I do want to say that since I don't have anything negative to say about health response, good job, Oakland. When it comes to helping our businesses stay viable, bad job, Oakland. I went out to Bar Shiru this past weekend where I was finally able to go to my friends' bars and restaurants and support them with my hard-earned fiat, you know, and talk to them because, you know, I haven't talked to them since March. It's been a pandemic. And the city's failed them. Every other downtown area has been able to shut down streets and let bars open up. We heard these plans back in like May.
Yep, that's right.
It took you 90, 100 days when people are losing their shirt. What are people doing? So that's why I'm running. That's another reason, right? I looked up, it's July, it's late July, and I'm like, our businesses aren't open downtown yet. This is just crazy. You don't care about people. Like, people are gonna like lose everything they work for. And you don't even care. I don't see any sense of urgency there. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. There's a sort of lethargy. It's like, you know, the mayor is my longtime friend and god sister, but this economic plan that she put together, she said she wanted it in 4 to 6 months. I said, Libby, people need action now, not 4 to 6 months, right? You know,
now. This is a time in history where if you're a leader of the people, it's going to come at a tremendous personal sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not comfortable with that, you're not the leader we need in these times. So if you want to keep your nice, cushy life and go on vacation and sleep 8-9 hours a day, which I do, I get my sleep. Hey, COVID, by the way, I don't want to. It's very important for your what is that called? Your immune system to get proper rest.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that people should sacrifice their own health, but you should be sacrificing your own luxury,
right?
When your constituents are literally facing the poorhouse. And the words of my man Michael Dabney, who runs the Icy, you know Michael? Mm-hmm. Michael runs the Icy, Rainbow Icy. Mm-hmm. Amazing brother. He's been popping up at the lake. He took charge and organized all those vendors under a vendors council to make sure that they could stay open, that people could get some money. He called it the panhandle epidemic.
Hey, are the cops leaving them alone finally?
Oh, yeah, because of Michael and other elders who have taken a leadership role, but now they have to move over they're moving them from that area to like the street where you usually cut over on.
Yeah.
Alcatraz, is it? So they're moving them, and that's the shortcut, you know, to get on over the other side. Yeah. But whatever, we don't need that. They're going to shut that off and move the vendors there so they can stay and keep the commerce going. Because they got a lot of complaints from the residents.
Wow, that's too bad.
It's unfortunate. People, that's not the kind of solidarity we need in times that we're facing. And I don't think that the it hasn't matured yet. The current economic paradigm has not matured yet or maybe it has matured and it's people's insecurities and fear and desperation that's leading them to act out in ways that are not healthy.
Right.
But we're in a watershed moment right now, not just in Oakland, but in the world. And I just felt like I don't hear anything about these things enough. Mm-hmm. So I went down to the Ethics Commission. I said, yo, give me my stuff to run for city council. She said, it's due Friday. It's Monday. It's a lot of stuff to do. I'm on the ballot.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We got it done. You know, we're not endorsed by anyone yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
we are dealing with a war chest of under $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we get some of that public finance money soon to give us more money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this, but District 3 just had its individual campaign contributions lifted.
I did know that, but it wasn't on my mind to ask about it. But I did know that. Hey, but I do want to ask a question. How have you thought about the ranked choice view, and how's your relationship with Lynette? How's your relationship with Carol? How have you thought about going that angle?
So it's cordial.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about it more with Carol because I have labor ties, and we'll see. Hasn't happened yet. I'm the only person who's made any ranked choice statement, and I was in the last our last forum with African American Chamber of Commerce, and I blatantly said we need choices for change. We have ranked choice. If I want your vote, and the other votes are also important. You need to consider Carol Fife, and you need to consider Faye Taylor. I did not mention Lynette on purpose.
Why is that?
Because we need to change. 8 years, we've had enough time. When I see Bridget Cook at everything and I don't see Lynette McElhaney at everything, we need to move on. Nothing personal. Also, added to the fact that you have to spend a lot of your bandwidth fighting these charges. I actually don't believe these charges are true. Let me go on the record of saying that, Lynette, so you hear me. I talk to everybody. Yeah, I don't.
Which charges are you referring to? What charges?
The new ethics charges that these garbage people, some garbage guys gave a bunch of money to a bunch of council people. Like all of them. Like 5 of them. Lynette got some money too. She got the most money out of everybody. And she used that money for lawyers to fight her current ethics charges that she was facing at the time that she was found guilty of. Forget drawing a side or a conclusion. We need that bandwidth, D3. We need that attention. So whatever happened to bring all this baggage to you without drawing any judgment, it still makes me wary that you don't have the bandwidth or energy or focus in this pivotal time. And meanwhile, on their watch, houses double in our district. We just need somebody who has a different energy, in my opinion. We need someone who can coalition build and bring more people together.
What do you want to do about Howard Terminal, the athletics, and the Coliseum?
Woo, big one. I've been doing a lot of research. A lot of my neighbors, I've been active in that and trying to make it happen. If you could show me a plan that brings jobs, housing, economic viability. I live in the bottoms, so I do not have a driveway. You show me a plan, that means I'm going to have a place to park during baseball season 2 days a week or 1 day a week, however many home games we have. Yeah, let's do it. So, and I'm going to catch some heat for this, but it's okay. I don't like to say something one place and not say it another. So let me be very clear. The Coliseum doesn't have any trickle economy from sports. I've gone to NBA Finals games. I'm from Cleveland. I went to the Finals game versus Cleveland. All of them. I was at Game 7 when we won. One of the best memories of my life. Sorry, Oakland. And I like the dub. The dubs are freaking awesome. It changed the game of basketball. Elevated the game of basketball to a much more pleasurable sport to watch, right? It's a great game to watch now. And I attribute a lot of that to the way they play, and particularly Steph Curry and his brilliancy. But when I leave the game, I go home. I don't go to a bar. What's around? There ain't nothing around there.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because in 2009, I was on Ron Dellum's Sports and Entertainment Task Force, and a guy you should actually, if you haven't met Steve Lowe before, he's in District 3. You should definitely have a sit down with him or a Zoom chat. But he came up with a plan to put retail around the Coliseum for exactly the reasons that you're talking about.
Because there's nothing there. We're losing all this money.
Yeah.
People go home with money in their pockets.
Yeah, and if you just type Coliseum Origins on YouTube, Coliseum Origins Zennie62, you'll see a white balding guy. That's the late Bob Lesty, who did a lot for Oakland and was a mentor of mine, talking about the program and the project. You're absolutely right. And it's been a litany of things not done, which gets to the Raiders. How do you feel about the Raiders leaving for Las Vegas?
Same thing that happened to Cleveland when we lost our team with the Browns. I need to get your name back. They took our team to Baltimore, but they didn't take our name.
So you want to try to get the name of the Raiders back from Vegas?
So It depends on what the people. I don't speak on those matters because like I said, I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm a Browns fan. I would encourage Raiders fans to fight for the team's name back, for that culture and that legacy, and I would fully support that. So yes, I would like to see that happen. Las Vegas can name their team something else. Raiders are blown in Oakland. That's some BS. Are you froze?
I got kicked out. I got a computer search. You there? We're still live.
I don't know.
Hey everybody! One of those weird deals that I'm in with talking, and all of a sudden my computer winks out. So completely my fault. Gremlins everywhere nowadays. Could be Russian. Hey, you know, I told everybody the Kremlin's watching me. It's true.
I believe it. You know, we have.
Man.
Oh crap! Now I have.
Oh, sorry about that. We were talking about Howard Terminal and then the Coliseum, and then I was asking you about the name and the colors and the Raiders, and I was saying you thought that we should try to get the name and the colors back.
I do, but I have an echo when I talk. Oh, okay. It went away. It went away. Good. Okay. So yeah. The Raiders belong in Oakland. The Raiders aren't the people. The Raiders is the name.
Mm-hmm.
You want your Raiders back? Get your name back. I don't know if it's too late, but we never let them take your name. So when they took the team, and Art Modell started our team, I know you got an NFL shirt on, so you know, you have an NFL blog or something? I know you said something about.
Yeah, I've covered the 2005, well, starting in 2005 with the NFL draft. I've covered the NFL draft since then, all the way up to this year as press.
Awesome.
And that came because we came to within 8 NFL votes of bringing the 2005 Super Bowl to Oakland. That was in Jacksonville. And to be honest, the city didn't treat me well over that period, which is a story that should be a movie and a book. And so as Jerry Brown, who was our mayor then, was saying to NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, you can't do this, you can't do this. Joe Brown, who was then the executive vice president for government affairs, came over and tapped me on the shoulder and said, Zennie, if there's anything we can do for you, let us know. And after I started Oakland's first blog, I was going down the Raider headquarters to cover the draft from there, right? And I just wanted to be there. And so I called Joe Brown. I said, Joe, remember when you said, you know, if there's anything you can do? And he says, yeah, what do you need? I said, I want to cover the NFL draft. He said, you're in. So I was first to cover it with a YouTube channel in 2006, first to bring Ustream live stream in 2007. It's just been ever since. I've grown Zennie62 media around it. So yeah. That's
a big time. I do my fantasy. I don't play fantasy anymore the last couple of years.
Who's your team? The Raiders?
No, when I do fantasy job.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, when you do the whole like fantasy football, you have to pick the whole.
Oh, you have to pick. Right.
Yeah. You pick
Who's your team? Who's your team? NFL wise.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, so I root for Cleveland teams always. We're very similar cities.
I gotta ask you, not to get too far afield from Oakland and the council, but what do you think of Baker Mayfield?
He's doing better now. He's got talent. It's hard to judge people from a view of Cleveland football culture. It's very problematic. As much as I'm a fan, our culture has been really bad. for years. So we had the first winning record in 6 years. Let's hope we're turning it around. He's definitely talented. He has a heck of an arm. He can throw off his back leg. 6 yards, easy. I've seen him make throws that I've only seen Mahomes make. So he's got it in him. We'll see what happens.
Hey, back to Oakland. I'm really dismayed over the scenes of homelessness and photographs I see, because I'm here in Georgia for my mom, as regular viewers know. And last time I was back was November of last year, and I'm paying like silly my $1,000 rent every month. But I see scenes there, and I can't believe that we've let the city go. I mean, and I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but what can we do to get out of this? And we'll ask.
It's a culture change.
Mm-hmm.
We need. So remember I said it's uncomfortable to be a leader, and it requires significant personal sacrifice. We're looking at a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a humanitarian disaster. You're looking at a public health disaster that's probably going to get worse if we don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And our neighboring state of Nevada, they're facing hundreds of thousands of evictions. Many places don't share Oakland's very strict rent moratoriums that are the strongest in the country. The strongest in the entire country.
That's right.
So if you're in Nevada and you're facing eviction, am I going to stay outside in Nevada where we should triple digits or freezing weather? No, I'm going to go to where it's a nice year-long Mediterranean climate. People come to Oakland for a reason to stay outside. It's the easiest, safest place to stay outside because the weather is more favorable to living outside. So you're going to attract more people who are forced outside to Oakland areas because of our favorable weather conditions. So that's just one part I don't think people really consider. It's not just people. We've gone beyond the wave of eviction. We've gone beyond all of the mostly, late 40s, early 50s, 60-year-old black men who make up most of the homeless. And now we're adding in, the great unwashed 2.0. White boys showing up. Bus Lab. I don't know if you know about Bus Lab. Bus Lab showed up to Wood Street encampment last year with a bunch of buses and grew like a 50 plant pot farm. I don't really I grow my own cannabis in my backyard. I don't have an issue with that. But you were tapping into the city water and fire hydrants and city power to do that? That's not safe. We need those hydrants. So
you mentioned cannabis too. The city has a business and assistance policy program, but it leaves out cannabis. At least, and what can we do to help cannabis growers? We'll get better respect from the city. And I say that deliberately, knowing it might piss off somebody.
We need to elect someone from the culture like myself, who's an enthusiast, who's been involved with that cultural movement for 20 years. I've helped Americans for Safe Access in Los Angeles with policy. I've been involved with cannabis policy, and just as an enthusiast and gardener and health practitioner for many years. It's something that we need to normalize that can bring significant amount of health and holistic healing to our community. You want to know how to reach these young boys in the hood and give them options. Say, hey, young man, here's what we're going to do. Instead of standing on the corner with your gun trying to ply your wares, we're going to take this whole empty field we used to dump on, and we're going to grow this whole thing full of cannabis and sell it. And we're going to make money and do it legally. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, they'll do that. I know because we've done it before. Yes, they will take that option. We're just not, these times are exciting because it's times of hardship that force people to do things they have to do. We are leaving the age of excess, and we are ushering in a potential collapse of the American society. And it's going to come with all the caveats of society collapse, and we're seeing that right now. I think that it's an opportunity for Oakland in particular because we still have the vibrations of neighborhood. Even with all the new folks that moved in here, most of them just trying to live here and be good neighbors. And if you fast forward to 8 years later, a lot of longtime residents born and raised have made friends and all types of lasting community ties with people who just moved here. And even bought houses from people who sold them to them who maybe should have sold them. It's a whole other story, a rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. But we're all here, we're all people. We have to work together. If you're living in the lower bottoms or you're living in West Oakland in your duplex, You're not the global banking cabal. You're not the elite that I'm coming after. And I do want to come after them. Oh, believe me, they need some smoke. They need a revolution. Those ain't the enemies. Don't take the easy way out by demonizing people who, if you give them an option, will actually serve as benefit to your community. That's what I see right now. There's a lot of divisiveness. I see a lot of renters versus homeowners. The big thing that we ain't talking about in this year's election is renters versus homeowners. Renters, Team Carroll, homeowners, Team Lynette, at least until Seneca Scott got in the race. And now we're throwing some monkey wrenches up in this joint because now people get a choice of someone who actually has a little different message, hopefully, right? But until then, that's what I saw. I was like, what is this? This ain't right.
So have you approached the business community for alliance or the rental community or the landlord community for alliance or that sort of thing? Or
not really. I just haven't had the time or the bandwidth. We've had to put together a passable. We've had to put together a campaign that could reach the people in rapid fashion. And when you look at all, people had already started making the endorsement. We applied for a bunch. I think people were hesitant to hitch the endorsement to a candidate who didn't have a war chest. Right, we got super PAC spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in D3 race alone.
Yeah, I saw $293,000 from the top unions for a special committee for Carol and Rebecca Kaplan.
No, it's more than that, to remove Lynette McElhaney.
Right.
I've never seen a PAC name something like that.
I made a show about that. I was like, whoa, what's, yeah.
Very aggressive, very aggressive. I don't have a fundamental issue with it because I do think we need a change. And I just said this on the forum last night. Who are these people and why are you spending this money in D3? That money could go to helping the homeless and feeding the poor.
Well, the feeling among some, I'd like to get your thought on that, is that going back to the Democratic State Convention last year when Kimberly Ellis ran against Rusty's last name is Hicks. There was a feeling among some that those unions wanted to systemically take out Black women that were not part of their agenda. And apparently this has been going on, up and down the state. I wanted your take on that.
You said labor?
Yeah, the specific labor that set up the committee that we're talking about.
I thought the committee was set up by Alameda Labor Council. I could be wrong.
It was. Yeah,
okay,
it was.
Okay.
And the AFL-CIO, yeah.
The AFL, I wouldn't know. I've had a complicated history with the labor movement. I've worked for 14 unions.
Wow.
14. I've been a director in 3 of them. You ask a union rank and file member who I've served and had the privilege of serving about me, you're going to get a completely different energy than if you ask a career union staffer. The systemic racism and the silence of Black voices is extremely alarming unless you want to play ball in the labor movement. Absolutely.
And that's what people, with respect to Lynette and also with Kim Ellis, that's what a number of people reached out to me.
Lynette told me that. Lynette shared that with me. I don't have enough background to say that she's wrong. I do know that this beef the unions have with Lynette don't have shit to do with D3. And this money you're spending doesn't have anything to do with District 3. Or you would have been spending that money to help the people in District 3. And even if that money is coming from progressive sources with progressive goals, it's improper to spend that much money on an election that's supposed to be the localist of elections. A city council person exists to serve the constituents of District 3 for District 3 issues. Why are you not running someone at large? Because Rebecca Kaplan is on the same ticket.
Right. And
so it's just problematic. You move somebody in at the 25th hour to run her.
Yeah. And in fairness, too, I first heard this at the convention last year before anybody else, including Lynette, talked to me about it.
So
this has been, and not only that, it's also in the literature. This thing's been flying around.
Oh no, I knew they were coming for Lynette because when I told 10 to 1 I was thinking about running, they said, "Good, hurry up and get in it. We got to get Lynette out." And I said, "Okay, cool. I mean, that's why I'm running. If I liked the incumbent, I wouldn't run." I don't have no political aspirations beyond city council, man. I'm just trying to, see my streets clean and my people happy and fed and safe. All of my people, not the Black people. My people are Black, and I love my Black people first and foremost because we need the most help. but I mean all people. Everybody outside, all these babies outside, all these elders outside, all these young people in the prime of their lives outside turning to depression and drug dependency to help cope with how hard life is because of the issues of predatory capitalism. This free market we claim to have, where we allow Federal Reserve Banking to print money and give it to their bettors and their businesses and keep them afloat, when half of the mortgage-backed securities in the country are now owned by the Federal Reserve, or maybe 47%, let me be precise. But this is alarming for those of you out there who can follow what I'm saying. But let me bring it back to D3.
Yeah.
I like Carol Fife, man. She's freaking awesome. She's a warrior. D3, though? What does that have to do with us? What does that have to do with us?
Yeah.
That's why I'm still in this race, and that's why I'm running.
And I asked because, like, Lynette has the Department of Violence Prevention. Is there anything she did that you didn't like that you want to do better as a council member? Or
Yeah, be accessible.
Gotcha. Okay.
Be there. You know, and solutions. We can't move backwards. You at least got to hold the line at bare minimum. You can't have the problem double, and the problem double on your bereavement.
So you,
all right? That's a part of it. I get that. Life is hard. I get that. You have to be self-aware that, am I fit for this right now? Lynette said herself she was considering taking time. You were considering that for a reason.
Well, her son passed.
Too late.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, no, she was considering taking time before her son passed to spend more time with her son and go work a job because she has been dedicated so much of her time to her constituents that she missed some, you know, I don't say missed, but she wanted to spend more time with her family, like many people who work hard. Lynette work. She's a democracy, not a fiefdom. A healthy democracy, in my opinion, a healthy democracy involves lots of people running and lots of people voting.
That's massively true. Now, I think I've known her for a long time, so I just candidly, as a friend, I think the death of her son really just knocked her off. You know, I
know it did. I have all the sympathy for that, and she was smart enough to have a staffer like Bridget who could show it up.
I'm sorry.
But I mean,
I'm just listening, man. I'm just listening, man.
But I mean, you got our issues went backwards, and I have a different style. I just, you know, and it's not about me, but yes, it's about me because you're supposed to vote for me, so I have to be comfortable with this. Seneca Scott has a different way of doing things that may be healthy and beneficial to District 3 residents.
So what will be the first action if you were to win city council that you would take on day one?
Day one, so I have a 1-year promise. My 1-year promise is that I'm not leaving. It's a social experiment. I'm not leaving the district at all the first year. That means at all. Like if you could put a wall up around D3, unless I have to go to Sacramento or somewhere for D3, like, hey, we got a meeting here. Oh, sure, it's for us. But while I'm there, I'm not going to stop for lunch. All my money and all my time is spent on local businesses in my district and with my community. So that's the day one promise. The second thing is we need an immediate blight cleanup removal. This is BS. You saw that video. Hell no. How much is that pot? Okay, take 10 million of that. You have you got time to do what's it called when they do the National Night Out? You got National Night Out money. We got D3 cleanup week money.
Bring back redevelopment, man. Oh my Lord, we need that money. Oh,
so I want to talk to you more about that because that's a lot of the stuff that I don't know about.
Sure.
We all got different areas we do our thing. You know what I'm saying? So like that's one area I wasn't doing my thing, and I need to know more about to be able to properly serve people and come up with ideas that can help us. We need to be developing here. I have a plan called Overgrow Oakland that calls to grow food and medicinal plants in every available space in D3 and actually bring back agriculture. Like you have to look ahead of the game. We have seasonal fires. The agricultural landscape of California is changing. Oakland
educate us. What's gonna?
So a lot of these fires are in places that share our climate, like wine. Oakland can grow wine. I don't know if y'all know that. Oakland's just like Sonoma. It doesn't have as much sun, and we have a cloud overcast. But there's only certain types of grapes that may grow here. I'm not a wine guy, but it absolutely grows cannabis very well. It grows all types of brassicas well, right? We grow year-round crops in our garden that we know grow well here that we can sell. Like we have good enough weather here in Oakland to actually start an agricultural business. If you've been looking at vertical farming in Detroit, there's all like we're gonna like in my opinion, we are facing food insecurities, not just food insecurities from not making restaurants and grocery stores in West Oakland food insecurity. I mean global food insecurities due to collapse in supply chains, right? And crops rotting in fields and food prices and hyperinflation that we're having. You cannot add trillions of dollars to your monetary system and decrease the amount of goods and competition for those dollars and think it's going to work out. Anyone who's taken Econ 101 knows what happens. It's called Zimbabwe.
I would say read The Limits to Growth. Club
Okay.
71. Yep.
I have not read that. Let me write it down.
Yeah, that's where the whole concept of climate change really was first born. And that's where I discovered system dynamics modeling. Yeah, limits to growth models. Yep, absolutely.
So,
and by the way, from that, we're already 20 years in the climate change.
So how do we have leadership that? So I have a saying: I don't go left, right, I go up, down. COVID did it for me. Medicine being politicized and COVID by both sides. Both of them get the finger. Both of them. Maybe the right gets 2 fingers, but the left gets the finger too. Barack Obama went out there and told people to not wear masks because our healthcare providers needed them. Nobody wears an N95 mask right now. We could tell people, hey, don't buy N95 masks, but wear any mask. He knew that. Why? Because they prioritize our financial markets and not causing a panic. All of them, all of the elite are complicit in politicizing medicine at the expense of our lives. It's sickening me to my stomach. So
you said Obama.
Well, the mask thing, right during the beginning of COVID, Obama came out and was like, hey guys, don't be buying the mask. You don't need to wear masks. I sent it to you.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, we need to be wearing masks, bro. What are you talking about? Are you following this? This is not before anybody knew.
Because Barack actually said that. I'm going to text him and say, why did you send this out, man? I know Barack. That's why I was
good. Text him. I would like to know, Zennie. Tell him, hey, why didn't you just say don't buy N95, wear a bandana, wear something? Everything helps a little bit to stop the spread of an infectious disease with an R not of that high. Obama gives high-level briefing. If I know these things from I used to work for CIR at SCIU, so I was representing doctors at the onset of the pandemic. I have lots of friends from Cornell who are doctors, and then I have my alternative media sources like all of us who I follow. Dr. Chris Martinson was an incredible source during the pandemic for his Peak Prosperity blog because it was a medical briefing. I had to go learn chemistry and learn some stuff to follow because it was just about peer-reviewed studies and from a purely scientific standpoint, not political. And I'm taking.
Barack will not be stupid enough to say something like that.
I sent it to you. So my thing was, either you have integrity or you don't. Up, you have integrity. Down, you don't. We need a new way of doing things. Like this divisiveness has been to our peril, and I believe it's deliberate. We're stoking race wars now because we were this close to having a class war. We were this close. So if you look at the signs during the George Floyd protest, a lot of them said in the Fed. A lot of them were talking about we got $1,200 while you guys made several billion. There were a lot of narratives seeping in about the wealth transfer and the financial disparities growing. They shut that down right away.
You sure did, yeah. Yeah.
That shit is gone now from the protest. It's all about Antifa and Black Lives Matter being insurgents and enemies of the state and whatever fucking other crazy shit these right wingers are cooking up right now. They can genocide our people in the coming months if they see fit.
And also
Seriously.
in these fake protests. You ever check out a website
They're
called
fake. They're fake, bro.
Yeah, crowdsondemand.com. We can buy a protest.
It's psyop to the highest level. But it's not just Russia. You have Ukraine, not Ukraine, I'm sorry, you have Nigeria running extensive bot campaigns. Yeah, Nigeria. You know what's funny, Zennie? Somebody told me that. So my friend Phil Regor, his wife is Leah Abraham. She's a CBS correspondent, Harvard professor, covers like the election. So she's like a big shot talking head.
Any relation to me right here?
I don't know. She's Jamaican and her family's from like Rhode Island area, I think. They were like Yale professors, I think her parents were, or something like that. But anyway, she's a big shot, Harvard professor, talking head, NBC intellectual, brilliant woman. And she's the one who told me. She's like, oh, it's not just Russia. Nigeria's involved, North Korea's involved, like Vietnam stepping in the psyop. Oh yeah. Wow. I said, Nigeria, why do they want to hurt us? And I did a thought. I think West Africa is well within their rights to attack America.
Wow. Hey,
game on. I mean, like it's alternative way of thinking, but like it's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there right now. But they are fake protests. These aren't black people protesting for Black lives. These are people doing it to soak division and stoke the racial tension, so we don't come for the people who are really doing the damage to all of us.
Tell people how they can find you, because otherwise we'll be talking for another 3 hours.
You can find me at my website. It's Oakland D. Okay, let me put it in here.
All right.
I don't want to get it wrong. I have a couple. All the domains.
I had it up so I can
all
just.
All the domains go back to the same place. OaklandD3.org is one.
D3.
OaklandD3.org, but D3 meaning like the number 3, not the letter. Here's the website.
Okay.
I do got to get back to the fight, bro.
And here's like, did I get this right?
Let me see.
For the first one, URL, OaklandD3.org.
Yes, OaklandD3.org. That is correct, sir.
Okay, and your second one, your site is it Seneca, Scott?
They all go to the same place.
Okay, there you are, folks.
I just bought a bunch of domains, so
smart. Smart.
It was all them back to the my site. Smart. So we are looking to turn it up in our digital campaigning. We've seen $90,000 on mailers in the last week. We don't have $90,000. We do need some money though. Donate to our campaign. Every dollar we spend is valued. We are definitely a movement for the people in a grassroots campaign. Luckily for us, digital organizing and campaigning is extremely beneficial during the campaign, and I believe that we can compete in that space. We have high-level video production that really, I believe, speaks to the heart of what D3 issues are. Not vague, generic, produced videos about how good you are, how much random people love you, but things about D3. And we have a new video every week. We have a video called Neighbors Together coming out Wednesday. So every week we're putting out a new little to media, and we're going to be doing our best to spread the word and knock on doors and do our pop-ups in Lake Merritt. We're doing a pop-up. If you see our tent at Lake Merritt, we're going to be bringing our baby goats, doing pop-up goat yoga. We figure out how to put this pop-up pen and draw some attention. We've got to turn it up. We have a lot of big dollars being spent, but it's a small town.
It is, yeah.
And you can't buy love, and you can't buy hearts and minds. And I believe that we have a path to victory.
Hey, Seneca, you got to come back, folks. Check him out. This is probably the only video you're going to watch where you've heard him speak for this long, so you say you know him. But Seneca, got to come back, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Thank you for the opportunity, Zennie. I'm glad we made it happen.
Stick around backstage. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back later. Subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube and bookmark Oakland News Now if you have not done so. Seneca, stick around.